Where's the camera? Is there a camera here? Where could it be? Is that it? Is that a camera? That little thing? Really? Look how itty bitty. It's a itty tiny, tiny camera. This is the G5 Dome Ultra, and it's tiny. Look at the little box. Eee, it's very tiny. This is one of the cameras in the Unifi range that is called Ultra. There's two of them. I did a video on the G5 Turret Ultra, which is linked there. But this is the Dome Ultra, and it is very small, very small. This is not an outdoor rated camera, but I'm gonna put it here in the carport instead of the G3 Flex that I have, a bit of an upgrade, mainly because this is very wide angle and it's 2K, which the Flex, the G3 Flex isn't, and it's not very wide angle either. So that's a nice bit of an upgrade. It also has better night range or infrared range, apparently. Let's see. It's not too important in the carport itself, but I'll take it, sure. But apparently Unifi made this smaller, and then they made it even smaller, and then they made it smaller, and then finally they made it smaller. So apparently it's tiny. Yeah, so we'll see. But let's get it out of the box and actually see what it is that we're going to install just up here. So here's the itty bitty box. Look, it's about the size of my palm. It's really not very big. But first off, yeah, I know you like this. All right, ready? Alrighty. Okay, so there's a few instructions on here because there is, oh, okay, so that just says put that on first and then that, I think. I'm not sure what this says, 1 and 2. So put that on and then turn it. All right, installation guide if you need it, QR code. And there's the dome, the G5 Dome as it's called. So what do we do? Oh, there's a tab here, we should probably pull on that. Very nice. Oh, so there's a bit of protective plastic there. Okay, cool. So based on previous experience, don't get fingerprints on this. Don't try and not touch it because that just creates like blurry spots on the camera. I've had this with my G4 Dome as well. But yeah, there's the actual dome. So we have the camera itself here. Oh, stoic. Okay. Oh, that's in this. Okay. So there's the camera. Yeah, it's not huge. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. So that will go over there. Yeah. And then this is that was the same on the turret. It comes with the cable attached, and I think that gives us more installation options. It's probably what it's for. So here is, okay, so I think this comes apart. Yep, exactly. So this is the grommet essentially. My Cat 6 goes through there, plugs in there, put it back together, and then we have a tight seal, and then that goes in the wall or in the ceiling, wherever you want to put it. Okay, well that looks pretty good, right? And then what have we got? That's the warranty, a quick start or something like that. We have a bunch of screws here for it, which we will need, and the security pin, releasing thingy. And then we have the template, which we'll need to drill the right hole in the wall to get it through, because remember, this whole thing has to fit through there, so that hole has to be the right size. That's it. That's there. And we have some brackets, which are going to go on the wall, and then if you want to, you can put that on the other side of the wall that you can secure it to if your material is not solid enough that you're drilling through or screwing through. And then there is another quick start or whatever it is, I'm not sure. I think that's it. That's all there is in the box. Yep. Very nice. All right, well, first let's drill some holes, get the old G3 Instant or Flex off, G3 Flex, then drill some holes, and then we'll install the camera. Perfect. Yay. So here's the G3 Flex. That's the one we're replacing. Sorry. And we're gonna reuse the cable, obviously, because that's easier. But the G5 Dome Ultra, don't forget the Ultra, is not gonna go here because it's so wide angle. I'm actually gonna put it up here, roughly. So it can point sort of down that way. That should work, we're hoping. And that requires a hole drilled here, and the cable coming in and out through here, and then we can install it. So I guess that's next, drilling some holes. So here's the tricky bit. Now I gotta actually get this Cat 6 in through this hole here and out through that. I will have to cut this off and redo the plug, but that's okay. But I really don't want to go in the attic. I really don't want to go in the attic. If you want to know why, here's a video explaining it. Yeah, anyway, let's try that. All right, it's out through the hole. I did kind of cheat. There's a lot of editing going on here, and this was not easy, but we got it. Hey! So now we got to, well, attach the bracket, put a new plug on this, and connect it, and that's it, I think. So first step is putting on the bracket, which is what's going to hold the camera to the wall. So that goes on like that. Remember, they have that tab at the bottom. Go into the instructions at least. All right, bracket on, let's get the camera on. So that's the camera, again with the cable attached. So we gotta get that bit, the rubber grommet bit, it's gotta go over this, my Cat 6 obviously, to make a very nice tight connection. So that just sort of squeezes over this, like that, not too bad. And then we just click that in, right into here, like so. And we can slide this back on, and now we have a nice tight seal here where no nasties are going to get in there. And that then just perfectly fits through that bracket. Isn't that lovely? And then we're going to have to connect the camera as well, obviously. And there's a little black dot on that tap there on the bottom, and there's a similar dot here on the camera. So we know to line those up, which makes it really simple to put on. So just like that. And then we just turn it. And that's it, it's on. And then obviously we've got to position this now. So I think I'm going to go for this way, and I'm going to turn this down because maybe on a bit of an angle. I always have to adjust these after I put them up. But anyway, it'll be good enough for us to have a look at in Unifi Protect in just a second. So about there, turn it a bit maybe or something. And then once you're happy with that, or semi-happy, we put the dome on. And again, try and keep that dome free of any fingerprints or anything so that it's nice and clear. Slide that over. Here it goes. Oh, and then this actually turns the whole thing. So this tightens it, the inner ring, and the outer ring means we can turn the camera when it's in the dome, which is nice, but we can't change the tilt. I guess we can change the pan like this, but we can't actually change the tilt. So make sure that you are happy with it, like so. I think that's good. And now let's jump into Unifi Protect and adopt it and have a look at it. Right, so before we get into Unifi Protect, I just want to show you the specs. I think that's important. So here's the G5 Dome Ultra, and we have this nice little animation that shows you how it's all put together. So this is what we saw before. We have the, the camera, the dome, the bracket, etc. That's kind of nice. So it says here, ultra compact, and it is. It's tiny. It is very small. Not a big camera, which I like. It's sort of unintrusive, I guess you could say. So it's ultra compact and tamper resistant 2K. So not 4K, but that's okay. An ultra wide viewing angle, 20 meters of night vision. We'll see if we can sort of test that. Might be a bit tricky in the carport. And AI event detections. If you want to mount it in other ways, you can mount it with a flush mount, which is this. So that's flush to the ceiling. That's kind of neat. So it's inside of the ceiling, so you need to buy that extra. Or if you want to have it on like a junction box or something that hangs down maybe, then you can also buy that bracket for that installation here as well. So there's a few options, but by default it comes as I just showed you. Install it on the wall or on the ceiling, which works pretty well. Let's just go down to the specs here. We have the technical specifications. It's very light, weight 175 grams. you almost don't feel it. It's very, very light, as you'd expect. It's very small. Aluminium alloy, polycarbonate. It feels mostly like plastic, I think. It is very light. And the mount obviously is stainless steel material, as you want on the wall there. Here's the resistance we were talking about, IK06. So this is the vandal resistance. If I look at the IK ratings here, we have IK6, protected against 1 joules of impact, equivalent to the impact of a 0.25 kilograms, so a quarter of a kilo, 250 grams. Mass dropped from 400 mil above the impacted surface. So that's like a standard that you can adhere to in terms of impact resistance. So it has an IK06 or IK6 rating. Oh, very good. What else? We have the sensor is a 1/2.4. I don't know what that means. If you know what that means, put it in the comments below. I'd love to learn. I'm not sure what that means, to be honest. The view angle, 102.4 horizontal viewing angle. So it's very wide, but we'll see that in just a second. 20-meter distance of IR. And it's 30 frames per second and 4 megapixels or 2K. The 2K obviously refers to the 2600 pixels. And here's the interesting bit. It runs a dual-core ARM Cortex-A7 based chip, so it's a pretty powerful chip, really. It's pretty good for that little camera. It actually has a fair bit of grunt because obviously we still get detections, as we'll see in just a second. It runs on 10 or fast internet or 100 megabit. It does not run gigabit because it doesn't need it. It doesn't output that much data. And it's powered with PoE, as most cameras are from Unifi. And that's about it. That's all there is. So let's hop over to Unifi Protect. And of course, it's right here saying ready to add G5 Dome Ultra. So let's add it. There you go, 1 new device has been added. So that's preparing an update. So let's just do the update and then we'll continue. All right, it's updated. Yeah, the angle the angle is a bit off. I might have to change that. But anyway, you get the idea. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't get that quite right. But we have the status here, which is online, obviously. Connection excellent. I would hope so. It's wired up. And then we have the frames per second, which is probably the most interesting, which is 30. It runs at 30 frames per second at a bit rate of 10 megabit per second. So it does not need gigabit. It does not. Recording mode. This is pretty standard for Unifi cameras. We have the options of when to record or recording mode, so continuous or events only, depending on how much storage you have. You might want to change that. The motion events is how long before and after do you want to record and how many seconds of motion triggers an actual event. And then we have the AI events, which are the interesting ones. So the video detections, we can just edit those here. We can see we have animal, person, and vehicle. I usually put animal on because we have a lot of animals wandering around here, wombats and possums and echidnas and all the animals. So save that. And then we have the AI detection, again, the timings of it, seconds before and after that we want to record. And then we have frames per second, which again is set to 30. I haven't changed that. That comes standard. That's fine for me. Video compression, there's the custom limiting bitrate effect on resolution will be most apparent during motion. Okay, yeah. I don't normally change the video compression. And then we have the encoding and the recording resolution. I do change this to be the time and camera name, not the logo. So I'm just going to apply those changes. And down here we have the motion zones, the smart detection zones, and the crossing lines and privacy zones. I've gone through those quite a few times in other videos for other cameras. They haven't changed. So if you want to have a look at those, go and check out some of my other videos. Maybe, well, that one. All right, so settings. I do want to change the name of it. I'm going to call this carport because that was what the other one was called, and I know what it is. And we can set on image tuning. So image tuning is, image tuning is, goes into full screen. Thanks, Unifi. So you can't actually see any of it, but it's to change the shutter exposure and the HDR, the frames per second, etc. For some reason, I can only do that in full screen. All right, and then we have the share live stream, so you can get a direct link if some of you want to share this particular camera with someone with one session at a time. There is notification settings, which is just, I use global settings for everything. And then we have the advanced, which is the real-time streaming protocol, which I use to get the live feed into Home Assistant. So I tend to turn on the high resolution so I can locally get that into Home Assistant because the Unifi Protect integration does that. And then manages the usual stuff of restarting and removing. So apply the changes. In case you missed it, I've launched a bunch of merch on the channel here. There's just down below here, and you can see it all. There is, for example, a mug called Spit Happens. Oh, that's hot. And many other designs, and you can get it on, well, a mug, obviously, but also on socks and t-shirts and jumpers and jackets, sandals, towels, all sorts. So check it out below and give it a go. You'll support the channel, and I'll really appreciate it. Cheers. So I just noticed a thing after just testing the camera out for a little bit. There's no microphone. This camera doesn't have any audio, and I completely overlooked that. So normally here under general, there would be a microphone setting. Like if I go to the G5 Turret Ultra, and I go to settings, there's a microphone sensitivity thing, and there isn't. So yeah, you don't get any audio with the G5 Dome Ultra. Little detail, but good to know. So let's have a look at the actual footage that we get out of it. What is the quality like? So here is my adjusted angle. This is the best angle I can get from where the position that I put it in. And I'm okay with this. It's very different from the G3 Flex position, which I have here, as you can tell. So they're a little bit hard to compare, and that wasn't really the point of the video anyway. This was mounted much lower down, and it had, you know, the ugly cable running and everything. I really like the install of the G5 Dome. It's very neat. And if I could have changed it, if I had an option, I might have put it further over on the carport and pointing down, but that wasn't an option with the way that the attic space and roof is set up. So this is pretty good. It's very clear, as you can see. It's quite wide. You can see, I'll just press play here. There's the dog. Xena's lying on the ground there, and it's pointing much more down, obviously. So it's more of a top-down view that I've now set up, which is totally fine for a carport. It's quite clear. And I can even see quite far down the driveway here. It's a little bit, obviously, you know, skewed because of the fisheye effect that it gets. But it's really not bad. For such a small camera, the quality is quite good. But yeah, no microphone here. There's no audio. So don't buy this camera if you need audio. Yeah, it's quite nice. And there's Chris walking away. It's very clear. I think the quality of the image or the footage is very good. So here's the nighttime footage, and it's a little bit tricky to evaluate the infrared in this location. You can see it looks really good over here, but that's the infrared from the vision enhancer on the AI Pro, which I did a video on as well, which is linked there or there or there somewhere. Well, check that out. That's actually a really cool device. So infrared does work. You can see it lights up the whole carport, no problem. But it's you know, is it about 10 meters infrared? Is that what we said, or was it 20? Anyway, not bad at all. So yeah, it's very fisheye, you know, wide, and it works really well. But yeah, for such a tiny camera, it is actually really, really good. So I guess the question really is, I kind of compare it to the G5 Turret Ultra, right? Because they're actually the same price. So let me just show you here. There's the G5 Turret Ultra, which I did in the previous video, so go check it out if you haven't. And it's $129 US on the Unifi or Ubiquiti web store. The G5 Dome Ultra is also $129. My favorite is the G5 Turret by far, but that's because I have so much outdoor space that this is outdoor rated. It has 30 meters of infrared, and it has audio as well, and it's the same price. But the G5 Dome is very small, so if you need this inside, this might be a better option where you don't need audio, or you need more of a top-down fisheye type you know, scenario. It might work better, but I think the G5 Turret is slightly better value in my opinion. But having said that, I really like the G5 Dome as well. I can't really fault it. Oh, 20 meters of infrared, there we go, which is quite good. It's very neat, it's very tiny. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd like to hear your opinion on this as well, because these are quite interesting sort of lower entry point cameras that are really performing well. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, which will be... Oh yeah, that's right, it's going to be something really, really cool that has to do with